Welcome to Bethel Church. We're glad you're here. Pastor John, come over here and join me real quick. We had a tremendous evening last night. And Pastor John, where are you standing? Get over here where I can find you. Folks, there's nothing scarier than that. I just want to tell you. Wow. We had a great night last night, and Pastor John, hey, Pastor Harold, come on out here.
Yeah, we need to get Pastor Harold out here too. Where is he?
So terrific night last night, just one of those moments where as a pastor, it's hard to express to you how proud I was of you, how proud I was of this church. As I walk around the concourse and I walked around, everywhere I looked, there are these blue shirts, and they are treating people with great importance and significance. I just was so proud of how well Bethel Church fit into Shoreline Amphitheater and how well we ministered to our neighbors that came. And Pastor John, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to say something about last night, and then we'll give Pastor Harold a chance too.
Well, I've shared this story before, but it bears repeating at moments like this. When I was a boy, my mother or my sister bought me a record. That's one of those vinyl things that you put a needle on. And it was Roger Williams. He's a pianist, and he did an album with full orchestra. And I can remember as a little guy sitting on the side of my bed, waving my hands, saying, someday I'm going to do that for real. Celebrate America in moments like that are a fulfillment of a dream, a lifelong dream for me. It's unbelievable that I get a chance to participate in that. And the people that participate with me, and many of you that wore those blue shirts, if people left Shoreline yesterday and said, man, there was something different about this, if they can't even verbalize the word Jesus because they're not even sure what the feeling is that they're experiencing, we have planted a seed that then the Holy Spirit can take over. And my prayer from the moment we ended that last night was that the seeds that were planted will fall on fertile soil, take root, grow deep. May people come to a saving knowledge of Jesus. And I do have to say this, and then I'll give the mic to Harold.
Yeah, you're just sharing. You're not preaching.
Yeah, shut his mic off for a moment.
That's not going to happen. I just guarantee you. Just telling you.
Probably not. I do have to say this. We are blessed to have a pastor who has the courage to say Jesus and to promote him as the source of strength and difference in the lives of a secular society. Folks, I am telling you, what you experienced last night in those 3, 4, 5 minutes of Pastor's message, you do not experience in public forums these days. So I want to say thank you to Pastor Brett for really doing the job last night.
Thank you. Pastor Harold.
I too also just want to sincerely thank Pastor John, Pastor Brett for their incredible leadership and vision for this, and just so thankful to learn from the best. And just so thankful for the many people that come have no idea how many pieces are working behind the scenes, and how many people, so many talents coming together. Someone has a talent here, someone has a talent there. You put it all together. A bunch of ordinary people coming together to put together something extraordinary. We're so thankful for all of you, for the time, the effort, and thankful for Bethel Church. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I was born in Spokane, Washington, Deaconess Hospital. And I have always been an American. I lived out of the country for a couple of years, but I have always been an American. I come to this time of year, and I look at this time of year as somebody who has been born and raised in this country. But every week, we worship with people in this church that have made a deliberate decision in their life to leave the land where they were born and where they were raised, and to come to America and to make this their home and to worship with us and to serve with us and to live with us here in this valley. And I wanted to hear from some of our friends who have come from other parts of the world and have said, you know what? I want to live in America, and I want you to hear from them today about why it was that they decided to leave where their homeland is and to come here to join America and to be with us. Our first testimony that we're going to share on this today is on video. So, gentlemen, if you'd go ahead and roll that for us.
I grew up in a small town in India. During my childhood days, coming to America seemed like a dream that was nearly impossible. As a child, I remember my dad used to read to me about Disneyland, home of the Mickey Mouse, and he would tell me that it's the happiest place on earth. As a child, I only hoped that I could visit this place one day. My dad was a physicist, and he used to tell me about NASA and how America was advancing in its space research program. I was told America was a land of opportunities and would be welcoming to all immigrants. After graduation, I was working in India as a software engineer. I was sent overseas for a project in San Jose, California. I was so excited. The first thing I noticed was the freeways, the clean air, the infrastructure, and everything amazed me. And best of all, there were no power cuts. And it's more than 10 years since I landed in America, and this country has fascinated me. In fact, I visited Disneyland 9 times so far, and still counting. The freedom, the liberty, the respect for human values, and above all, the love for God is what makes this nation so special. Every person has hope and opportunity to be a great citizen. When I came to USA, I had lots of dreams and hope for the future. To me, the most rewarding and the greatest gift of all was that I found Jesus. I remember visiting Bethel Church for the first time for a baby dedication of my friend's son. Since then, we've made Bethel our church, and we've always felt at home. Pastor Brett has prayed for our family on numerous occasions, and we've been blessed by this church. Our son Ronan, he was dedicated here at Bethel. I always wondered if there's a real purpose for me to be here, to leave my country behind and to come here. And I believe it's to find new life and new hope in Jesus.
Good morning. My story is one of opportunity as well, and how it's made a positive impact in my life. I grew up listening to my mother talk endlessly about this word opportunity and how we needed to be prepared when it came knocking on our doors. I had frankly grown tired of hearing it over the years because I didn't understand what it meant at the time. I watched my father work tirelessly day in, day out to meet our needs as a family, and he was certainly a great father to us. But no matter how hard they tried, I knew that for me, part of growing up to become a man meant leaving the country. Of course, I had become reluctant to do this because it was just easier to stay at home. But I knew well that part of my journey to earn a life that I wanted meant leaving home. I wanted a chance at a good education and strong work ethics. And even though that may have been possible in Ghana, I realized that the life I wanted, the one I wanted to earn, meant I had to leave home. This was the kind of opportunity I sought to find when I moved to the US. To me, it was the land of ultimate opportunity. It was where the best and the brightest in the world convened to do great things, and I so much wanted to be a part of that. Initially, I didn't realize how it would work out because I didn't know anyone in the US at the time. I decided to go to Canada instead. So I applied to some colleges and even got accepted. But then out of nowhere, the opportunity came knocking. I got invited to come to the US for a music tour in a band which I used to sing. It was an amazing experience. See, I had always wanted a career in music, and I figured that was my chance to make it happen. Of course, it wasn't the time for me to leave home right then, so I had to go back home. Then in 1999, I had a second opportunity to come back here for another music tour, and it was then that I met a family friend who asked me to move here into Silicon Valley and go to school. At the time, I didn't understand what it really meant to live in Silicon Valley and work in the technological industry. I'd never even heard of Silicon Valley. I didn't realize the technological impact this place had on the world. But more importantly, I didn't realize the spiritual impact it would have on my life and how I would come to be saved. I moved here to the US in January 2001 to get educated and to build a life. And I'm so fortunate to say that, lost as I was at the time, I am blessed with the opportunity to live my dreams, not just physically, but more importantly, spiritually. And I am so grateful to God for having mercy on me and for guiding me to the right people who would lead me back to Him. Finally, when the opportunity came for me to say yes into accepting Christ into my life and as my personal Savior, I was ready, and there was no second thought about it. Opportunity, such a simple and common word that could make all the difference in your life. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Eve. I came from Korea. Today, Korea is one of the fastest developing countries. They have high technology and high level of education and fastest growth of Christianity. But still, they are very conservative. And they are very limited younger people, younger generation, and the freedom of expression and the freedom of creativity. So I decided to come to America. First thing I wanted to see when I entered the United States was the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty and Liberty Bell represent freedom in different ways. The Statue of Liberty brings about a feeling of hope, of freedom to immigrants who enter the United States. I came to America with my dreams to complete my freedom to do as my wishes, such as freedom of age, freedom of expression, and freedom of creativity, and freedom of opportunity for our education.
Thank you, honey. You good job. Hi. Before we came to America, We live in Seoul, South Korea. Total area of this country is smaller than California, and we are sadly just separate from north and south. And population of total Korea is about 45 million, and about 25 million, over half of the population living in small city Seoul. Pack of people around the city, cars around everywhere, air pollution, water pollution, and people just tired of competition each other. I felt so much pressure every single day. Then I decided to come to America for the freedom of environment, freedom of everything. May 8, 1994, Honolulu International Airport, I finally stepped on the land of freedom, United States of America. Smell of flower, warm hospitality of American people, Polynesian people. They just say aloha to me, every single person. I thought the aloha means welcome to America. Clean air, water. I almost stepped, bent on my knee and kissed the ground. It's been 18 years in the United States. I travel all around this country. Wherever I go, wherever I see this country, I have full of hope. I feel full of God's blessing. And we thank God every day we are here. And we thank God every single Sunday we are here in Bethel Church with you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless.
Good morning. My name is David and my wife Victoria. I'm from Guatemala and my wife is from El Salvador. Why I came to USA? When I was 5 years old, a missionary came to visit our church that my dad was pastoring. His name was Noé Diaz. One of those regular days, my dad and him were talking about a place that your dreams come true, and the land of blessing, a land where you can see how God is with them, and everything that they touch prospers. At that moment, something was planted in my heart. I said, one day I want to be in that place. When I was 15 years old, that thought still was burning in my heart. So I told my dad, Dad, I want to go to USA. Of course, my dad said, no. What are you going to do there? You are my child. Tell me what is your need? You have everything here. But suddenly, 2 years later, all my family was persecuted. Extortionists were following us. My mom said these words, I would prefer not to see my children for a while than rather to have killed them. It's been 13 years and 1 day that I haven't seen my parents. But in all of this, God, the plan of God, it's been there. Psalm 91 became a word of God. Life became alive in our family. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in shadow of the Almighty. My brother Nathaniel is serving God as a worship leader in a church in Fremont. My sister Sarah is helping in the new Spanish ministry here in Bethel Church. And I never thought that I was going to lead the Spanish ministry here in this church and be a part of the history and reaching 1 mile around of all our community around this church. This is a second chance, and clearly the hand of God has been protecting our family. This is a beautiful nation, living in freedom, and raise all my kids in a national blessing and be part of this beautiful family that I have here, Bethel Church. God bless you all.
Sure, a privilege to live in the United States of America. I love being an American. I love this time of year where we get to stop and celebrate our freedom and the liberties that we cling to. It's a special privilege today to hear some stories about people who determined in their life to make radical change, to live among us, to worship with us week after week in this church. Thank you for sharing your stories, folks. They were very inspirational today. People have been drawn for decades to the United States of America, drawn with the promise of liberty and freedom and opportunity. The reality of that is represented in the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty in New York's harbor has greeted generations of newcomers to the shores of the United States. The Statue of Liberty was presented to the United States as a gift from France in recognition of 100 years of liberty, commemorating an alliance between France and the United States in the fight for freedom. It's a 152-foot figure which stands on a 150-foot pedestal. And it was shipped to the United States in 1885, was erected in 1886. Construction began in 1875 and was not completed until 1884. Crews worked around the clock 7 days a week for 9 years to finish the Statue of Liberty. When it was completed in 1885, it was disassembled into 350 separate pieces and shipped to the United States. The reassembly took 4 months. The Statue of Liberty was officially dedicated and unveiled on October the 28th, 1886. And an inscription on its pedestal says this: "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, the tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." The statue was renovated on its 100th anniversary in 1986 and reopened with great celebration. Many look to this statue in its 100+ years from boats and automobiles, airplanes, trains, with a sense of awe, but not at the statue itself as much as what it represents. Today we've heard from people who came to these United States through the adventure of change because of words like hope and freedom and opportunity. But those words not only are represented in the Statue of Liberty, they are also represented in an invitation from Jesus himself His invitation to liberty is even more compelling than that of the statue in the harbor of New York when he said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." The idea of this invitation is compelling because it addresses the issues of real life. Not theory, not theology here, but the grit of reality. Weary, burdened, words that are easy for all people to relate to. But the recognition of difficulty is followed by an amazing invitation with an incredible guarantee of rest. The word rest in the Greek is an interesting meaning because it describes both physical rest and spiritual rest. It means to settle down, to dwell, to stretch oneself out, to have cheer and joy, and to have peace. What an incredible invitation. What a generous invitation. Jesus is saying, don't wait until you've got it all together to come to me. Come to me the way you are, weary, burdened, broken, hurt, disappointed, fractured, and fragmented. Come to me, and I will give to you rest. The invitation from Jesus results in change from panic and distress. It exchanges exhaustion for rest, trading the burdens of life for the liberties that only Jesus can bring. In Luke chapter 4, these words are recorded. The Spirit of the Lord is on me because he has anointed me to preach good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery for the sight of the blind, and to release the oppressed, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. Freedom. Freedom proclaimed to those who are in bondage. This week, we will celebrate freedom. We will barbecue. We will adorn red, white, and blue garments that we would never think of wearing on any other day of the year. We will watch fireworks, and we will celebrate freedom. Freedom in the land of the free is becoming a concept that is increasingly misunderstood. You see, freedom came from the words freedom of. That's how it was introduced to the United States. Freedom of. When our Constitution was written, it was sent out for ratification to the states. And as the ratification process went along, people wanted some guarantees of specific freedoms. And within a few years, the Bill of Rights were added, the first 10 amendments to our Constitution, the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, the freedom of the press, the freedom of people to peaceably assemble. These are the freedoms that we enjoy. But somewhere along the line, Americans have taken freedom of and exchanged it for freedom from. Over the years, and especially from the last 40 to 50 years, we have seen this transition taking place from freedom of to freedom from. For many Americans today, freedom means to be free from any type of restraint. Freedom that is similar to what one finds in the Old Testament in the book of Judges, chapter 21. At that time, there was no king in Israel, and the people did whatever they felt like doing. True freedom is not doing whatever I want. True freedom is doing what I should do. Somewhere along the road to freedom in America, Americans have fallen into the trap of being more focused on freedom from than freedom of. We celebrate freedom from tyranny, but we have made it freedom from any rules. We celebrate freedom from search and seizure while we have selected to live lives that are filled with secret rooms. We celebrate the fact that we are innocent until proven guilty, and instead we have become a land of blame shifters, putting blame on others. Freedom of religion has been replaced with freedom from God. And freedom from slavery of another person has been exchanged by freedom of ourselves within ourselves because of ourselves. 1 Peter 2:16 says this, live as free men, but do not use your freedom as a cover-up for evil. Live as servants of God. Many Americans are living wishing for a better day, but also seeking freedom that goes along with whatever they feel like doing. And the bondage just continues to increase. That's why there must be one more step. Yes, it's freedom of, that's how it began. Yes, we are living in a time of freedom from, but there also has to be freedom for, describing God's eternal purposes, His plan, His reasoning for giving us these great freedoms that we celebrate. Not just the freedom we celebrate as Americans, but the ultimate freedom that we celebrate as Christian people that we have received from Jesus. Freedom from sin, freedom from guilt, freedom from the past, freedom from drugs and alcohol, freedom from living a life with no purpose and no freedom and no eternity. It's for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourself be burdened again by the yoke of slavery. Freedom is a gift to you, not to be used to ensnare and entangle yourself. Freedom is granted to you to please God and to impact others who themselves are in bondage. Today we celebrate freedom. We celebrate the freedom of, and we celebrate also the freedom for. And knowing that our freedom carries with it responsibility and expectation from God Himself, who has granted us these great freedoms. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Freedom of, it takes us back to America's birth. Freedom from describes the land and the world that we live in today. And freedom for describes God's eternal purpose and the very reason that He granted you these freedoms as a Christian American person today. God bless you today, my friend, and God bless the United States of America. Praise the Lord. I'd like to have a word of prayer with you today. Would you please bow your heads with me and close your eyes? As I talk about freedom from, as I talk about the entrapments and the entanglements of doing whatever you want, as I talk about the words weary and burdened and the invitation for Jesus to grant you rest, for some of you today, it's something that you hope is true. It's something that you say, oh, I would like to experience that. And just as 4 couples have shared today about their adventure of leaving where they were to come to where opportunity and freedom and liberty was, so I want to extend an invitation to you this day to leave the state that you are in and to come to a place of freedom and liberty and forgiveness and rest in Christ. The invitation remains open to you this day. Wow. Come unto me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. There's no guessing in this thing. If you'd like to have Christ come into your life, if you'd like to have Jesus come into your life, if you would like to have Jesus forgive you of your sin and to help you with liberty and with freedom, I'd like to lead you in a prayer this morning. It would be my honor. And as I pray this prayer, just quietly where you sit, I would invite you to repeat this prayer quietly with me right where you sit. God will hear every single word you say. He will forgive your sin, change your life, and establish His purpose in your life. Pray with me. Dear Jesus, I know I've sinned. I know I've made some mistakes. And I want you to know I'm sorry. I ask you to forgive me. I don't want my life to be like that anymore. Jesus, today, I accept your liberty, your freedom in my life. I ask that your purpose, your plan, and your dream for me would become a reality in my life. Thank you for inviting me to come to you. I do that now. Several of you said that prayer today for the very first time. Congratulations on liberty. Congratulations on freedom. Congratulations in going from where you were to where He is.